Welcome back to another exciting episode of Heavy Muscle Radio Live. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, as always, by the technician, Chris Aceto, on this Sunday night.
Or Trump, I give you this, but it's Trump's QAnon followers. I'll do this for you, Dave, like your Q.
Thank you. I'm in my makeshift studio because of my leg. I didn't want to go over to the office and potentially fall. You know what my problem is, Chris? I have no problem going up the steps. I had this fear, we're going to finish the show at midnight. And I'm going to be going down the steps, like it's 25 steps with my crutch, and I'm going to fall, and no one will find me till the morning. I'll be dead.
Well, Dave, you are in your makeshift office. I'm in my upgraded office. You see my central AC? It's a fan.
Yes.
And then my heating system is a radiator.
You guys are already getting cold weather there, right? Already?
What's that?
Aren't you guys getting cold weather already?
I turned the heat on just in case last night.
Wow.
Just in case. And I turned it on in apartments too, so that I don't have to take phone calls. So people say, it's freezing.
Well, you know what it is? I can brag about the 90-degree weather we had here today, but we might get hit with a huge hurricane on Wednesday, so I got to keep my mouth shut for now.
Yeah. Don't jinx it. You see, Puerto Rico got smashed again.
Well, they always
Canada.
Yeah. I don't even know how they have an electrical grid in Puerto Rico, actually, because
I know
it's always down. But they have all these models it's going this way and it's going to curve this way, and the European model, and they got the fucking crazy Ronnie Coleman model and all these different models of hurricanes, and the model had changed, but now it's back to be almost giving us a direct strike. So it's either going to hit Tampa or it's going to hit Fort Myers, Cape Coral area.
I see that.
Yeah. So hopefully we won't. We have some pretty strong buildings here, and I got generators and everything. But who the heck wants to get hit with a hurricane? What a pain in the ass.
You survived the one in New York, Dave. So
Chris, the scary thing was 10 years ago today.
Is it 10 years?
10 years ago today, I tore my quad in
India.
In India, I came back and got my surgery. 2 weeks later, I don't know if it was a week or 2 weeks later, the hurricane hit, and my houses were flooded. I was in Ron Norman's house the day of the hurricane, and I lived in my office, believe it or not, my Species Nutrition warehouse, for 3 weeks until the electricity came back on and all that stuff. And I had to get my house gutted out and cleaned out because there was water in it. So 10 years later, it's like deja vu all over again. I'm on crutches again.
They may have to send you back out of Florida. They don't want you around. You're a jinx.
I'm on crutches again with another hurricane on its way.
Your father must have loved that word, a jinx, right?
My father just thought he had bad luck. I don't believe in bad luck, but I do believe in
Italians believe in it big time.
Yeah, I do believe in absurdities that happen. But
yeah,
that's look. You know what the bottom line is? I prepared myself when I moved down here. I said I'm getting a generator on my house and on my building where I do my business. I'm getting one of the ones where they work off a propane tank. I got a 500, whatever cubic, whatever it's called, gallon, I don't know, propane tank in the ground. I mean, unless something goes wrong, I should be, unless the roof blows off the house, and we have a pretty strong house. So you never know, I guess. But I don't worry about these things. Everyone else people love to worry about, weather. It's it's really it's almost like an addiction for people.
That's on news stations, wherever you live in what part of the country, the most important thing, breaking news is the weather, whether it be a snowstorm, ice storm, excess rain, heat wave.
It's really funny how people get so and you know what? Amanda's been going to the supermarket just to get supplies for the kids. And of course, people are losing their freaking mind.
Yeah.
The gas stations were out of gas, in one day after the hurricane.
Yeah.
It's I find it rather humorous, actually. It's only not humorous after you get hit with the hurricane, and then you have to actually live with the fact that you have no food and there's no this and there's no that. But right now, I find it very funny because people just go nuts when they hear a hurricane or they hear a snowstorm or anything like that.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's my story. I don't. Did you? Before we get to the Arnold UK, did you see this Floyd Mayweather, 45 years old?
Yeah. He beat. Who did he beat?
What's this guy?
How much did he get paid is more important.
Well, that's what I wanted to bring up. Floyd Mayweather is the smartest guy. Some people don't like him, but he's the smartest guy. And I'll tell you something about him. He beat this Mikuro Sakura MMA guy, knocked him out. He's 45 years old. Okay. Now he's smart because he knows he's not going to lose to this guy. So that's why he took the fight. And I remember like 10 years ago, Triple H, who I'm good friends with, telling me, because I guess they got Floyd on WrestleMania one year.
They got everyone at one time on WrestleMania.
Yeah. So Floyd had to come out to Vegas and learn, the act, so to speak, And Triple H told me, I got to tell you something about Floyd Mayweather. He goes, he's the smartest guy. You think he's dumb? He's smart. He knows everything about showmanship and marketing and making money. This guy gets it. He said he will make money till the day he dies. And it's good. He's got the good nickname, Money Mayweather, right?
Well, they could help him promote the Arnold UK then.
Yeah. He wouldn't even get involved in something so small potatoes. This guy probably made $25 million. I don't know what the payday for this thing was.
Oh, for this fight, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he wants to fight, do a rematch with
Conor McGregor again.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Because that was
over the money.
I think that was the biggest one. Yeah, the money wise. Yeah. And I'm sure Conor McGregor doesn't mind making that much money.
Of course. They're both smart.
Let's see if we can find what he made. Back in his dad's day, his dad was a great fighter.
But what he needed, Dave? The deadline for tax extensions is October 15th. So Mayweather took the fight because he knows he needs to pay taxes in 14 days.
He made $275 million on that McGregor fight, and McGregor made McGregor made $87 million on that fight. I didn't even realize he made that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he made. I think that was his biggest payday ever, and he had no chance of losing to him. That's the funny thing. So it wasn't even like usually you have a big fight, you might get your head knocked off by someone, but this was like a walk in the park for him. McGregor doesn't have the boxing skills that Mayweather has. So it would be like Jay Cutler, having a pose down against some teen national champ or something like that,
competing against like a men's physique guy.
Yeah, something like that, exactly. Hey, we're just going to do upper body. Well, I guess I got news for you. Jay still beats you. Jay still beats you.
Jay beats everyone now at 50.
Yeah, exactly. He does. Absolutely. And while we're talking about funny stories, there's a 14.
Did Mayweather fight Jake Paul, or did I imagine that?
Yeah. Well, Logan Paul, is it? One of those guys.
Logan Paul.
Yeah. It was a pretty good fight, actually.
Yeah, it was a good fight.
Yeah. You always talk about your son. How old is your son? 16?
18, 17, 9, and 3.
Because Chris sends pictures to me. He sends videos of his son running in football and stuff like that. Well, there's this kid, Chris. He's 14 years old. Let's pull up this picture. My good friend sent this to me. David, who does my floors. Where is he? Oh, yeah. 14 years old. He's 290 pounds. This kid. Bench is 415.
Let's see. How old?
He's 14.
14.
And he's
That's
fat.
him right there?
Yeah, and he's not fat. He's freaking fast as could be. Look at this kid. Every school, the colleges are after him already, and he's not even in high school yet. Yeah. I think he just picked the high school or something like that.
Where is he? In Texas?
No, I think he's
North Carolina. Let me guess.
From California, actually.
No days off.
209. This is crazy, right? I mean, this kid could be like the next, what's his name? Michael Jordan or LeBron James of football, Imagine what he's going to look like when he's 18.
Yeah.
It's good ahead watching him do some of his drills. He's fast. He's got quickness, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is what these coaches look for.
Oh, they love it.
At 14, he's so mature. He's so mature for his age, and he's got a pretty good physique. Yeah, he looks like
he's not as fat as he looks.
No, he's got some.
you know what I mean?
That's about it.
That's a Jose Raymond statement. I'm not as fat as I look. He's not as fat as he looks. He's pretty solid.
No, I was pretty impressed. So, if he gets an injury, Chris, I figure you can contact him and get him into bodybuilding or something like that. Because there's Conor McGregor money in bodybuilding. Yeah, he could be the next Andrew Jack. You never know.
Yeah.
Speaking of Andrew Jack, he makes it 2 for 2. We were talking about him last week, and we didn't know if he was actually going to get to the show because he had some visa issues, and at least that's what we were told. And so the visa went through, and he did the show, and obviously he won. Let's pull up some footage of him. Give me your assessment of him. Compare this version of Andrew Jack to Texas when he won.
I think he was better in Texas because I think he was, my first impression is that his right leg looks small, really nitpicking and flatter through the pecs.
Is he flat here, or maybe
he just in Texas he was rounder. I mean, he was just rounder in Texas. It's he may have, and in a way, I think he may have been leaner here, but he looked harder in Texas. Someone with experience would know the difference. So he might have been leaner here. You can be leaner and less hard. Yeah. Because hardness has got to do with water retention, muscle fullness, the appearance of density.
His glutes really were not even in. I mean, those are just his natural lines that you're seeing. I mean, it's an illusion. I bet you in person they weren't that deep. And he can be definitely tighter. I wonder what he weighed here.
No, I don't know, but it's you could put up, or you should put up. What you could have done is put up Texas Pro video, and people who were seeing this for the first time, if I said, no, he was better in Texas, and say this was, put up the Texas Pro video, and people would say, oh, no, he's much better here. Well, that is the Texas Pro video we put up. So, no, I think he was better in Texas. That's my gut. I was not there, but I wasn't in Texas either.
Well, you made a good statement. I mean, after when we were reviewing the Texas Pro originally, you said, this guy is good, but he's going to be way better in the future. And because he's still maturing, so to speak, his muscles don't have that mature look yet. He's going to get bigger. He's going to fill out that frame more. And so I think, what happened is after he wins Texas, we put so much pressure, or at least in our minds, we build him up so high that I think we want to see like a 10-pound improvement from Texas. And
well, you can see his best shot is the front double and front lat spread, and you can see in the comparisons he should be able to structurally dominate the lineup, which he did not necessarily do, and that's because of the there was less of him on stage here. There was less fullness. Mm-hmm. So if there's less of him and his Christmas tree's there now and his glutes and hams are inside out, well, it leaves a different impact. But when there's less of you, and the condition's the same, by definition, you were better at the previous show.
No, true. You're right. That makes sense. Let's see if I can pull up some footage here. Some comparison stuff.
But he's darn good. I mean, that's the nitpicking. I mean, the people who gave him a run, and they did give him a run, shouldn't have been giving him really a run, if that makes sense. I think, standing next to some degree, like James Hollingshead, you could see the difference in muscle density. It depends on which video you see, not this one. I've seen different ones where James looks very dense and very, quote, thick, especially in the back shots.
Patrick Johnson, who finished second here, looks really impressive too. And I've been putting up stuff on him for Muscle in the Morning for the last, couple months actually, because he's just gotten better and better. He's going to be also. You watch, he'll be a dominant guy in the future.
He looked great too. I mean, he also pushed Andrew. I think, I think at the end of the day, Andrew's structure and height and width carries him even in this lineup, which is a very good lineup.
Yeah. And, I told people before this, I said, here's another good call out, Chris. Let's play this one. Hold on. I said, James Hollingshead is really big here and thick.
That's my point.
Good condition, and you know what?
Very good.
But
Yeah.
you get these guys who have better structure up there. Sometimes it's just too much. And I think,
Well, you know what? I'll tell you this: is James, you discount him because of the structure. But I mean, if you can zoom on this shot, you know he's tight in the back shots. He's very thick in the back double. He's thick in the back lat spread.
he did everything he had to do here. Really,
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing more he can do. I mean, and he's bigger than everyone else. I mean, although Martin Fitzwater is pretty dense here too.
Yeah, Martin is in very good condition. If you get, depends on like.
I'm surprised he didn't do better. Actually, I'm surprised he didn't get top 3 here.
Well, you know, it's apples and oranges. You know, I don't think he was quite as tight as the guy who got second. What's the guy who got second? Same again, Dave?
Johnson.
Who? Dave,
Patrick
the guy who got.
Oh, Patrick Johnson.
Yeah, I think Patrick is more detailed, but I think Patrick's. I mean, Martin's muscle is just as dense and hard. I think Patrick might just be a quote bigger guy. You know, a little bit wider, a little bit thicker.
Do you see? And I don't know if it's just me but do you see like a bit of Vince Taylor and Andrew Jack?
Yeah, I see it. You know, in the yeah.
I just feel like he's got a little like a young Vince Taylor physique, like kind of similar muscle to Vince. Like when he flexes hard, things pop.
I mean, he's not winning the back double.
Right.
And you know what? He may be winning the back lat spread. I doubt it though, which is a very big surprise. You know, so.
Right.
I mean, I thought he would dominate those shots because of his height, structure, and just overall size. Side chest, he doesn't really. You know, that's side chest and side try. He just doesn't really hit him that well. I mean, he was pushed here. I'd like to see the judges' scores if they're real scores, because sometimes, you know, judges' scores they just throw in at the end so they don't make a math mistake. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's true.
Yeah. No, you're right. I didn't see a scorecard actually, to be honest with you, but. Just keep talking. I'm just pulling up some.
No, it's so that's it. I mean, it's I guess at the end of the day, the kind of surprises. I think that there's a few surprises here. Well, there's 4 stories here. The guy got second. Patrick, say his name again, Dave.
Johnson. Patrick Johnson.
The reason I don't know his name is this is like his first, you know, big blowout show. We'll know it after today. Patrick Johnson, you know, tremendous condition, great balance, a lot of thickness. Martin Fitzwater is a big story just because he's, I think he's better here. When you take a close look, he's better here than he was in Texas, which is saying a lot. And then Hollingshead, I thought this was a great look for him, super dense. And then, you know, the 4th story, Jesus, Dave, we do this show too late. Who's the winner? No.
Oh, Andrew Jack.
Andrew Jack winning? But you know, the expectation, right or wrong, was that he was going to come in peeled, and he came in probably not as good condition as Texas. He wasn't as good as Texas, Dave. You know what? So put up some pictures from Texas so that you get an idea. Texas, he was round, dense, pretty darn hard. Here, he lost some roundness, he lost some density, and didn't trade it off for condition. You always have to weigh as a bodybuilder, how much am I going to trade? You know, am I going to, you know, trade this fullness that I have, and I'm pretty darn hard? Am I going to trade it in for super condition, but I'm not going to be able to keep all this size?
Right. No.
So I think it was a bad trade, or it was a bad visa. Maybe he couldn't get his visa, and he just, you know, wasn't, you know, on his A game because he realized I may not be able to get in.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, however, I think, you know, we have to say that it was he got 2 wins now. We have a guy with 2 wins. He's going to the Olympia with a lot of momentum. He beat some good guys. Patrick Johnson's really good. Martin Fitzwater is good. James Hollingshead is really good. He didn't beat a slouchy lineup, but these guys are not guys that are in the top 6 at the Olympia either. So my question is to you: how does Andrew Jack do at the Olympia, given these 2 outings that you've seen?
In Texas, I would have been, going nuts. Here, based on what I see here, him being a big guy, I would say I'm less high on his placing here than I was in Texas. And I'll tell you one other thing, Dave. It's not to review last week's show, but it's a Derek Lunsford effect, who didn't have to compete and is going to the Olympia. I mean, Andrew Jack chose to compete, but to put that tall, round physique through a peaking process takes a lot of energy.
Right.
And it sucks you down or sucks you away from your absolute best at Olympia day. So this is him twice having competed, where other people, who the Hardys, Hunter Labrada, Ramy, those guys should be fresh because they had the whole year off, or throw in Lunsford because he didn't compete at all.
Right. What do you think of Mark Hector? Let's pull up some footage.
Very good. Very good. I've always been impressed with him. I think a couple of years ago when he competed, he was also very good. I think the only thing that might be holding him back right here in this show is the back thickness on the back double.
Yeah. See another Akeem Williams? I mean, he's got a lot of density and small waist and that same
he's got a lot of potential, and he's realizing that potential. And what he looks like here says a lot about the show, meaning he didn't crack the top 4, which just goes to show you this was a show of a lot of depth. And, here I am criticizing Andrew Jacked, and yet.
Well, you're not really criticizing. We're giving constructive criticism. I
know, just in case he has a conniption.
Everyone has a meltdown, when you talk about them, you know that.
So
that's saying.
this is a good Mark Hector, and I think Mark Hector, has to be patient, because he's gonna win a show somewhere at some point. It just he's got to figure out which show. This is a pretty heavy show to pick. The top 4 were totally outstanding. Throw him in top 5.
He could have come in a little tighter, is what you're.
Little tighter.
I mean, that's really. I mean, the guy's got all the tools and bells and whistles. He's another Quinton Aria in a sense, right?
Yeah, he reminds me of that. Quinton's a little bit more crazy X-shaped, Quinton's like a long lost cousin of Tony Freeman, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Tony would say, "That looks just like me up there, Dave." And then he'd say this: "They're giving him the same placings they gave me, right? Dogging him."
Like Tony's famous statement was, "Just put me next to him," right?
Yeah.
Here's the winning, I guess the winning awards here. Compliments of Digital Muscle Media. It's funny how James looks bigger than everyone, doesn't he?
Dave, if you go and you look at a high quality video, I'm telling you, Andrew was very vulnerable against him because James Hollingshead was big and thick, and you know what? He had great glutes. So if you're judging and you have somebody with great glutes and they're big and thick, it's easy to put them, 2 spots higher and not people freak out.
Right. Oh, by the way, you probably missed him when he walked off stage, but there was a big, tall guy with a beard. He looked like Thor.
Wasn't Arnold, was it?
No, it was James Malley won the amateur 2 days before on Friday. We're going to have him on the TV show on Tuesday, but he jumped into the open. I mean, he jumped into the pro show, on Sunday. So he did both. He's 6'7", this guy. Might be, I think, the tallest. I think he eclipses the Jamie the Giant Bear guy. He's like 290 or 300 pounds or something like that. Like 6'7". It's pretty, very impressive. If you saw pictures of what he looked, let me see if I can pull his thing up because You saw pictures of what he looked like when he was like, he was a swimmer, I think, originally. You know, Doug Wentz's famous thing, whenever a guy was too skinny, he would always say, he looks like a swimmer, you know, on stage, the bodybuilder.
Yeah.
He was the swimmer, this guy, and he packed on an enormous amount of muscle. Really, really nice guy, too. I thought we're going to be interviewing him, like I said. Let me see if I have that. Let's see what we got here. There he is. Let's see what else we got. Oh, here's the before and after I was talking about. Look at that, Chris. Isn't that great?
That's with Milos in 18 months.
Oh my God! 33 years old, 300 pounds, and the picture on the right, and the picture on the left, he's 19 years old, 190 pounds. How funny is that? He was swimming back then.
Looks
so
like a swimmer.
He got to turn pro and then compete as a pro on the same weekend. That's pretty cool. Big guy. You see him walking in a shopping mall, you'd stop 10 times to look at this guy. I mean, he's huge. Congratulations to Josh. Just wanted to give him a little plug because we love our new pros. All right, getting back to the show. So Hollingshead, what was the reason you think that he did not win the show? Because a lot of people had him as the favorite going in there. Obviously, had a lot of momentum.
He didn't win the. He didn't win the show. Here's why he didn't win the show.
You know what? I'm going to let you. I just want to say one thing. It's frustrating, I'm sure, for him too, to know that he brought his pretty much best into this show. He put a lot of mass on in the offseason. He made improvements. His conditioning was perfect, and he had to settle for third place.
Yeah, Dave, he didn't win the show because he doesn't win the front double and front lat spread. Mm-hmm. Because he does not beat Andrew Jack in the front lat spread, and he doesn't beat him in the front double, and he probably beats him on the side chest. He probably beats him on the side try. Probably beats him on the back shots. He's tighter in the glutes and hams.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you know, I think it's Andrew Jack's wow factor in the front double and front lat spread that's so like, wow, that's an impressive shot. And standing relax.
Right.
That give him the edge.
You know what I love about James's physique? If you look at those legs, when he first came up, he didn't have legs like that. I mean, those were built on hard work. And you know what? Which just goes to show you that, you know, if you don't let off the gas pedal and you keep your mind focused on what you want to accomplish, you can accomplish anything. So when I see guys that have, like, you know, legs that are good, but they're not super powerful, I always tell them, if you want to train them, you got to keep training them like you did when you first started working out, when you had all that enthusiasm and you couldn't wait to get to the gym and put all that weight on your back. And you know, you spent, you know, 2 hours with your friends there. You had to wrap in your knees and all the different things you have to do to really push the envelope to build quads. You could tell this guy, you know, pushes a lot of heavy weight with those legs.
Yeah.
And, you know, it shows on stage. Very Branch Warrenish. And I've said it a million times, but they look like they could be brothers, these guys, you know, physique-wise. Yeah. So congratulations to him. I'm sure I think there's another show. Isn't there, like next week or two or something like that?
There is a show in Italy. I think it's in 2 weeks. I think it's Italy. Is it in Italy or?
But they had the show in Italy or something like that? Or?
No, there's a show still 2 weeks away for sure.
Okay. I know there's one more coming up soon. So I would like to see, I don't know if I would assume James is going to do it. He's from the UK, right? He might as well.
Yeah. I mean, he's already qualified for the Olympia, right, James? Didn't he win a show like?
Didn't he win one last year? Yeah.
Yeah, like after. Anyhow.
Hold on, I'm going to tell you who's qualified for the Olympia for those people who are interested. Nick Walker, Nathan Diasha, Big Ramy, Brandon Curry, Heidi Shupin, Hunter Labrada, Sean Clarita, Regan Grimes, Samson Dowda, Rafael Brandeo, Angel Calderon, Joel Thomas, William Bonac, Blessing Awadibu, Charles Griffin, Mo Shaban, Hassan Mustafa, Mohammed El Sanor, Vitor Boff from Brazil, Andrea Presti, Ian Valier, Antoine Valiant, Hakeem Williams, Andrew Jack, obviously, Vlad Suroroku, who just won that show 2 weeks ago, was it a week or two ago? Derek Lunsford, who's
how many people is that? That is a
stacked lineup. Yeah,
that's a stacked lineup.
And the top 3-point guys are Andrea Muzzi from Italy, Theo Leguere from France, and Justin Rodriguez barely holding on there. Steve Kuklo is 2 points behind Justin Rodriguez. So it's we're gonna get a lot of people itching and nipping at the heels of people to get to that Olympia.
Was Hollingshead on there? I don't even remember you went.
No, I did not say Hollingshead's name, so that must have been the previous year that he was.
And Reagan's out.
Yeah, Regan's not doing it.
Yeah, so I contacted Regan to see if he wanted to sell his qualification at a discount.
Yeah, you remember when
a broker? How about a broker? If there's special invites, Dave, why not be a broker? Say like, you know what? I decided because of all this special invite controversy, I'm going to become like an agent, like a broker.
Yeah.
And Regan will give people, Regan will pay back like $3,000 to whoever he needs to pay it back. The powers that be.
He's selling
he can sell it for like $5,000 to Hollingshead, so Hollingshead can rest up and get the rest he needs. Unlike Lunsford, who gets a special invite and gets to sit around all year.
Yeah. That's funny. Very good. Yeah, they'll be selling them on eBay pretty soon.
No, just make it exciting. Like,
well, I said years ago. Remember, Joe Weedy used to pay guys a salary to write in the magazine to be part of his team there, the magazine, the Flex magazine team. But then he would give them ads in the magazine too, and he let them sell them, right? Or I don't know if he let them, but someone started that precedent. I forget who it was. I think it was Victor Richards who started it.
No, I think it was maybe it was
Samir, maybe.
People used to sell them for $20,000 a month.
I know, for Muscle and Fitness, absolutely, and that was a bargain because it was $24,000.
I think it might have been Stridham or Mike Christian.
One of those guys did it first. It's pretty funny though, if you think about it.
Because Joe, at the end of the day, Joe didn't want to part with cash.
Yeah.
So he'd give you a cash equivalent.
Yeah.
It'd be like me saying this, like,
but back then it was worth it, Chris, because there was no social media. So
I know, but the crazy, he just did not want to. Cash was king to him.
It's ridiculous, but you know what? It was smart in a sense because giving away a page really was nothing.
You know who bought up the stuff? Like, I think it was Body Alive that bought up a lot of the stuff.
Oh, they bought a lot of the pages.
So what Body Alive would do is if you go back, Dave, Body Alive was a clothing company. I mean, you know who they are.
Yeah, sure.
But they used to, like, let's say if it was Stridham who had the ad space, he'd partner with Body Alive, sell them the ad, but be in the clothes themselves to help sell them. But to run back to Joe, if Joe would say like, "Hey, what are you doing? You can't just sell it." No, we're partners, Joe.
Yeah, that's brilliant actually when you think about it. Yeah, that is pretty funny how they did that. Joe Weeder was smart. These guys.
You gotta find out what happened to like Trish from Hotskins.
Yeah. Hotskins was Hotskins with these like tights basically that were striped and all kinds of. Some of them were unitards you'd wear. They come up over your shoulders. And looking back, they really were kind of like crazy looking. People wore these things. Aaron Baker was like Batman.
Jay wore the Hotskins.
We all wore them. I wore them too. But they were really expensive. So what happened was a lot of companies started knocking them off and making their own version. Because Hotskins was first. They were the original name. But those things were like $50. But if you were like a top level bodybuilder and you went to the Hotskins store, they would give you free clothing just to wear them around because they knew that if Aaron Baker or Gary Stridham walked around with a pair of Hotskins on, 50 people on the street were going to go into that Hotskins store and buy the same ones. And so,
yeah, I once went up to her. I went to both of their places, Body Alive's factory where they're making the clothes. I just couldn't believe how much clothing they were selling, Dave. It was like insane. Same thing with right when she got started, Hotskins. I mean, I'm talking within like the first 6 months.
Who owned Hotskins? I didn't know the girl.
Trish something. She was like a artsy granola Venice person who just happened to like have nothing to do with bodybuilding, but she made some tights for someone, maybe Aaron Baker or something. He looked like Mr. Olympia in them.
Oh my God.
And then she was off to the races.
Everyone had a store on Main Street. Was it Main Street there?
Yeah.
Right on the same street as the Firehouse. They would have all these little stores like Hotskins and Body Alive and this one and that one and that one. And I don't know if the stores made any money. They probably did because the tourists probably went in there, but everything was like full retail, super expensive in there, but people went in there. Stridham had that Stridham wear store for a while there too.
Yeah.
Which was really nice. And then that turned into Max Muscle, I think, after him. But that was like, I don't know what he paid a month there, but that was like prime real estate, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember he bought his condo. Dave, do you want to know how real estate? I think he bought his condo for like $350. Was it $350 in the Clown Building?
Oh, above the Powerhouse Gym there.
Yeah, but you're talking 30 years ago. People were like stunned. $350,000.
It's probably worth $1 million today, right?
Oh God, easy.
It was, and I guess location wise, it's good, but it's really not because you're in the middle of like the town there.
Well, I mean, it's a good and not a good location,
right.
but at the same time, it's like having real estate in Manhattan. It doesn't really matter where.
How big were those apartments? Were you?
I never went.
Were they big though? I mean, were they more than?
No, I went once. Yes, I went once because Neil Spruce from Gold's used to rent a place over there. Mm-hmm. Very concrete, lack of windows. Yeah, completely. Yeah, take it from a real estate person who knows nice stuff. Terrible.
So, really? So
concrete and just a concrete building with some high ceilings and an outside deck overlooking Main Street, but nothing to like. No bathrooms to wow you. No kitchens to like blow your socks off. Wow. When you go to a place and you see like bathrooms that they don't have to be big. Yep. They can just blow your socks off.
Sure. So you're basically just paying for the location, essentially.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the classic physique division for a minute, Chris. Here, pull up some. Michael DeBull basically, essentially, duplicated his win from last year. So he made it 2 in a row. There's your buddy, Sean Ray.
Oh, yeah, Sean. Goodness, you got a job.
You got glasses, too. So
he's so off the grid. I didn't even want to ask about him.
Yeah. What do you like about the Bull's physique?
Condition.
Yeah. He always brings it. Good luck.
Condition.
How does he stack up at the Olympia, you think?
First call.
Do you think he'll move up into that first call?
I'd say I would like to say first call. The flip side is you just mentioned or read through a group of men's open competitors. It sounded like there's 30. If there's 30, then there's 55 classic guys. And when judging the classic,
I wouldn't even read I have the list here too, Chris. And I wouldn't even read it because I've been reading it for 10 minutes.
When judging the when judging the open, if you're not peeled, you're not getting a look. If you're not peeled, you're not getting a look. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. And when it comes to the classic, because there's going to be even more guys, if you don't have a really classic look and big, you're not getting a look.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's just there's going to be so many guys in the classic who are in prime time condition. Mm-hmm. But let's say their lower body is a little weak, you are not going to get a peep out of the judges because the people who are going to be 1 through 9 are going to be flawless in terms of classical shape and flow. So to judge that class takes a great eye and a lot of experience.
And like you said, it seems like there's every show we see a great new guy pop up out of nowhere. It's like it's not non-ending, never ending.
Yeah.
Trying to find some. This is not what I was looking for. Hold on. Will Classic be more competitive than the Open in your?
Yeah. But it has to be because there's more people. So it's going to be more competitive, and there's more. You know what the irony is? We hoot and holler, myself included, over Andrew Jack's shape and flow, and the quote physique. There's a lot of physiques in the classic physique.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of people with lots of bells and whistles, great flow, great muscle bellies, great tie-ins. Like if you blew them up 30 pounds, it'd beat guys in the Olympia.
Right.
That's a fact. I mean, it's one way to measure how impressive that class is. So they may be quote small, but there's a lot of people who are really impressive in that division. It's just a really tough division to dissect and to judge when you only have, which you only do have, you have an hour. You gotta pick, okay, these are the 5 best guys and eliminate so I can get through the rest of these guys. These are the worst 15 of the bunch. And then I can start judging from there.
Right.
Otherwise, it's just too distracting,
Right. I wanted to show you.
But back to the Open, Dave. I mean, that list that you read is, there's going to be people who just, I think, aren't going to place where we expect them to, and others, people are going to move up and people are going to move down.
Yeah. We didn't talk about Martin Fitzwater. I wanted you to just I found some video of him.
Oh, you have this postage stamp video. I think he's one of the most improved guys since last year. I thought he was great in Texas. I think he's great here. I think, what happens is, he got the knock against him that he's quote too small, and that's not true.
No, it's not.
He's just shorter.
Right.
He is not too small. So, he was very tight here. I think he was better than Texas.
He might have the best conditioning in the whole lineup.
Yes. Well,
him and James.
I thought he had he was the best conditioned from behind, and we love condition from behind, right?
Yeah,
supposedly, right. Bodybuilding judges and fans love condition from behind. His glutes and hams were peeled, and what he didn't have in Texas, which he did have here, was a Christmas tree. I mean, he had it in Texas, but here it was really like
I'm sure. He could have been. I don't think anyone would complain with him placing second.
Well, I agree with you, Dave. He could have been second place because he's balanced too.
Really,
I see Branch Warren there stealing all the secrets of George Farah. I think they trained together. Him and
was that George that we saw?
But George says, "Oh, Branch is here. He'd take all my secrets for."
They had.
Let me say this: if Martin improves, this year to next year, like he did last year to this year,
right,
he's going to be a lot to deal with next year. A lot.
I think so. I really like his.
Because
I've really become a big fan of his physique.
I think he was. I think right now he's as much as we hype up and he deserves it, Andrew Jack, we de-hype Martin Fitzwater. Who? Maybe it's the Fitzwater. Fitzgerald, Fitzsmith, Fitzwater. Martin, it's like a Martin, if his name was like Johnny Jackson or something, we'd be like, oh, you see the guy Johnny Jackson? Martin really Fitzwater. It sounds like a Broadway play.
Imagine 10 pounds on that physique. He's going to be dangerous next year. I really think he is.
4.
Yeah.
4, because he was in true condition.
Yeah, he was.
He was in true, dialed in, dense, hard, 0 water retention condition. He's impressive.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think that, people see him as, he's only Martin Fitzwater, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, they said that about Branch Warren when he first came out.
Well, maybe he has to, pay his dues. I don't know.
Yeah, a little bit more size. Let's look at this. They had a bunch of Arnold Classic, champs there. So that's Sean Ray on the left. They had Flex Wheeler, Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, and of course Branch Warren. So that's interesting. The whole show was kind of mired by the fact that the Arnold people had released a notification prior to the show saying that Arnold would not be making an appearance there. And the reason they did that was because I guess there was a financial.
See, because I do read the reviews sometimes, the comments. Dumbass bench chip. No, sorry, bench chip says. I do read them. Built to laugh. The idiot says, Chris, Andrew deserved the fucking hype. Stop hating. I already said like 3 weeks ago in Texas that he'd be top 5 in the Olympia.
Yeah, you were gushing about him.
He just happened to be better there.
Yeah.
Which
no one wants
which really means you took a step backwards. Because you know how you know, Dave? If he looked better here, you know what people would be talking about? Slam dunk Olympia top 3. Right. Maybe a win.
Yep.
Right? But since he didn't, that's how you know he did not look better here. Because people would be talking, this guy's top 3 for sure.
How do we end every show every week? The truth hurts, right?
Yeah, the truth hurts.
Truth hurts everything. No one wants to admit that,
Yeah.
but
well, people are in their parents' basement watching the show, so they gotta.
Well, anyway, evidently before the show, I guess one of the main partners of the show, or was running the show, and he was running it, I believe, with what's his name, the strongman, Hall. My God, why can't I listen?
Dave, I'm worse than you had to tell me who Andrew Jack was. I forgot his name since Texas. I'm hating on him so much I couldn't remember his name earlier in the show. Anyway, do the cop out, Dave. Say I have 3 kids. I can't remember anything.
I guess one of the promoters had a felony, and there was some fraud involved, and there was some money that was not paid to certain athletes. And I know Lee Haney was supposed to be at this show, and he was not paid. He did not go. I know he had posted on his Instagram. He was not happy about the whole situation about, people make promises. You have to deliver those promises. And I agree with Lee Haney. I understand Ronnie had only been given a very small deposit too, and he was not going to be paid. And I think that the IFBB NPC stepped in and made sure that he was paid for that. I do know
that just means, let me translate it all, Dave. If the IFBB stand in, there was no money there. Well, but
I'm glad that they stepped in and did that for Ronnie. But the sad part about the whole thing is that Arnold tries to attach his name to competitions around the world and become partners with these people. And unfortunately, sometimes a lot of them are crooks, and they don't know this initially, and then they find out the hard way. And you ever notice? People always get arrested right before the big show. It happened a couple of years ago. The guy in France, you remember? I
think it happened in England way back. We went to a show. I don't know. I'm pretty sure me, Jose, Guy. I think there was the same thing. Like at the last minute. Yeah. There was no money available.
Yeah. So I believe the athletes' prize money was guaranteed. So that's good. I know the two pros people, they put the show on. And the Arnold people were just involved in the expo, but it's just
because Arnold's not running it like a he's running it like a what's his? Let's see, there's franchises and there's
a franchise. That's exactly what it's almost like a franchise. They're supposed to pay Arnold a certain amount. Arnold gets a certain percentage. They attach Arnold's name. Arnold makes the appearance. All these things, but there's someone reneged on something, and it just didn't go as planned.
Arnold needs someone to suss out to find out where they got Arnold. You got to find out. I would think he knows. You got to find out how much money they have, and where did they get it, and how long have they had it.
right. That does go a long way, but thank God at least the show went off.
Oh, thank God that the IFBB stepped in. Listen, thank God, and said, okay, right?
No, it could have been a disaster, is what I'm saying.
That's what I mean.
Getting back to the past Arnold winners. Of that group there, okay, Chris, here's your trivia question for the week. Let me pull this up. Of that group, is that the wrong picture?
You can't beat me in trivia.
Who, in your estimation, looked the best at their Arnold Classic victory? So not who's the best bodybuilder, who is the best in their victory? And it could be either one of their victories at the Arnold.
Oh my God.
Sean had 1, Flex had 4, Ronnie had 1, Jay had 3, and Branch had 2 victories. It's a tough one, right?
Well, it's really hard to say because they're like, big times apples and oranges. But Flex Wheeler 93
right?
was completely insane. We will never see a physique like that again.
He wasn't that big, but he was shredded.
Well, and he had. You don't have to be big when you have those type of joints.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was big. He looked like a cartoon. His arms looked bigger than his head. You know, his quads at that show were so deep that it looked like he started diuretic 6 months out. You know, when Coleman won in 01, you know, he was great. And, you know, the first two that Jay won, he was tremendous, outstanding, great.
Right.
You know, Branch is, you know, great in his own way. And when did Sean Ray win one?
He got disqualified. He got
Well,
disqualified.
then he shouldn't be in the picture. I'm going to block him
No,
on the screen. Can you look? I'm trying to block him on my screen, Dave.
Okay. No, but he did win one. He really won two, but he lost. He was disqualified.
Oh, did he win one?
Yes. Yeah. He won the one the year after that. I think it was 91.
There's Hunter right there. Look at
Hunter as a little baby. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Look at. I would never had him top 5, 20. Look way too heavy for 1-year-old.
Is this 93, right?
Yeah. The Christmas tree, the glutes.
And this is terrible video quality too. But,
yeah. They didn't. Yes. The splits.
Yeah, he had it all this show, really.
The quads. Let's see him turn from the front.
Yeah. Flex had one of the best stage presence of any bodybuilder.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
You know, he was so magically fluid on stage. You know, he had great body. He
started all that quarter turn that everyone mimics now, like when they lift their leg up, like Remy does, like everyone does. Like their legs are too big to even quarter turn; they have to like lift them.
Yeah. Hold on, let's see if we can get some of this stuff. Front poses. Yeah, there's those quads. Wow. And he was only he was like an amateur the year before this, right?
Yeah, that was his first, I think maybe first pro show.
I think he won the 92 USA. Yeah, it wasn't his first. Was it his first? I think he did one the week before or something like that.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
He might have won the Ironman the week before. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think it might have been the 93, but, you know, Ronnie Coleman at that show was a 2001. 01. Was it 01 he won? Yeah, it was the 01. He was really good at that too. So a lot of people thought that was his best ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ronnie had a lot of different really impressive looks, but I think 01, 2000, I mean, he had 1998. I think Ronnie's prime years was 98 to 2001, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if you factor in the big 300, the 1998, I mean, 2000, the first time he won the Olympia probably would have beaten that. There's just too much condition on it.
Yeah. Hold on, let me see if I can pull up this Arnold.
And he had a little bit of tears in 2000 whenever he was gigantic, you know.
We overlooked him because he was so big. We were so happy that he was so big. No one gave a shit. That's Timothy Arnold right there.
Yeah, that's impressive. Shoulders, arms. Yeah.
Look at those glutes and how
look at the hamstrings.
Yeah, he was crazy looking. People forget how crazy Ronnie was.
I don't. How can you forget?
Well, you know, it's because I think they remember the last few years rather than the first few. You know, and I think that's this is like pumping up footage.
Yeah, he's doing deadlifts to pump up.
The only pose he couldn't hit was the lat spread, right? He just didn't understand. He thought the lat spread was the most muscular pose.
No, it was a raise your flex, squeeze your pecs.
Yeah. He said he just wanted to win the Hummer. That's why he didn't even care about the money. He didn't even care about the prize money.
Of course, he wanted that Hummer.
He told me, he's like, Dave, I just wanted the Hummer. So why don't you just go buy a Hummer? He's like, I didn't want to spend the money. It was
they give you $100. He'd win 100 G's at the same time.
Yeah.
Arnold used to have the great payday.
Well, Arnold had these other sponsors. Like Hummer was a sponsor, so I'm sure Arnold didn't pay for that Hummer. They probably donated it. And then for a while they had that. Remember when Victor won it? I think he won that watch, that really expensive.
Yeah. They had watches and
yeah. The watch was nice because you can kind of wear it out of there. You can wear it out. The Hummer you had to have. They probably made you pay taxes on it. The only person
they did.
The only person who gave away a free vehicle and paid the taxes for you, Jake Wood. There you go. At the Rising Phoenix show, when he gives those cars away to the girls, he pays.
He prepays the taxes on it.
He does. He does it. That's a class act, if you ask me. A lot of people remember back in the day when these women would win all these prizes on the Price is Right, and they couldn't even afford the taxes on all the stuff they would win. They'd win cars, and they'd win a kitchen set.
Oh yeah, the trips.
Yeah, trips, and no one could take them because no one could afford.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. That was the shtick.
That was the shtick. That say, okay, well, yeah, we'll just give you $5,000.
Yeah, we'll give you $5,000.
We'll take all the prizes back. We'll not give it to you. Is that how they did it?
Yes, that was the gimmick. Yeah, they used to do that all the time.
I used to love that show when some people would win the double showcases.
Yeah,
they come within $1.
Yeah, and they're like, "We'll give you $5,000. You have to give everything back. You just want
the trip to Europe, to Acapulco, the camper, right? The car.
You were winning. You were buying something. You have to pay taxes on it, and the game show wasn't paying the taxes on it. That's for sure. So anyway, all right. What else? Final words, I guess. I think this Olympia is shaping up to be a really good one, because the fact that we had a lot more time this year, Chris, and we have a lot more. Think about it. Usually the qualifiers were done in August, and we were having the Olympia like now, right? I mean, normally. So the fact that we have an extra 2-3 months, we have that many more people qualified. It's going to, and people have more time to prepare for it. We should have a pretty impressive Olympia this year. I don't really love the fact that it's around,
3 days before Christmas.
Yeah, it's not really the smartest.
Santa Claus is firing up the engines
right. And then how do you do the Arnold after doing you just did the Olympia, now you got to get ready for the Arnold in 6 weeks? It's like crazy almost, or 8 weeks, whatever it is. So, but you know what? You got to wiggle and adjust.
Well, if you're going, you better. I just got my tickets the other day. When you're going to have a heart attack when you see how expensive it is to fly around Christmas time.
You know what? Lee Priest told me I think it was like $3,500 from Australia to go to Vegas. Crazy.
Yeah, I was looking at flights the other day. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, because
I was going to start a GoFundMe. GoFund.
Yeah,
GoFundMe, but I get
it. GoFundMe for Chris's Olympia trip.
Because look at my air conditioning system in the back, that fan and the heater.
You should just drive the old Mercedes there. It's old, reliable.
It's starting to overheat, Dave. I haven't been driving it long distances. I'm serious.
Are you ready to retire that thing? You think?
I don't know. I think I'll probably drive it until it explodes.
There you go. Yeah, but you don't want to be in it when it explodes. That's the only difference. You should drive it right before it explodes.
My Infinity is in the shop. It's been in the shop for a month.
Yeah.
A month.
How old is the Infinity?
6 years old.
Oh.
They can't find the parts.
Let me tell you something. What happens is with these cars, the new cars, your Mercedes is probably more reliable.
27 years old.
The new cars today at around 3 years old is when they start falling apart. No, it's true, because that's why they only lease them for 3 years, because in 3 years, there's no, they can warranty it for 3 years because nothing goes wrong. And then as soon as you take that one day over 3 years, the windshield wipers have to be changed. The headlights blow, the fucking transmission falls out. Everything falls apart. You cannot keep a car for more than 3 years. I'm giving you guys advice.
Dave, listen, it's the best advice ever. I don't even dare to. I'll tell you off the air how much I'm spending to fix the Infinity, just to fix it.
Sell it.
Listen, I got in. Iron Debate prepared me for debating all these people. I got into an argument with the manager of the dealership, and he can't beat me in the debate, so he defaults to you brought a car in here that's 6 years old.
6 whole years old, right?
I said, are you effing kidding me? I said 6 years. I said I'm driving a car for 27 years, and I've changed the oil on it.
Supporting your case very much.
Yeah.
That just means you're a cheapo. That's
no. He said. So I said, "You're trying to tell me I have a car that's 6? So you want me to just throw it in the trash after 6 years?" And he basically said, "Well, that's what we do. Usually after 6, we can't bring them back to life
because they don't even make the parts anymore. It's insane.
6 years. They have to. I'm renting a car. Go online and anywhere in the United States, any small and medium city, and try to rent a car. See how much it costs. It costs a fortune. I'm like month number 1.
Well, you know what it is? Pretty soon you'll be, like you don't do this because you keep the same phone for 20 years, but I'm on a plan with the iPhone, whereas every year I can get a new phone. I just trade it in. You pay an extra $5 a month, and they let you trade it in at the end of the year to get the new one, which is good. But they want the old one back. You have to send the other one back, and then they refurbish it, or who the fuck knows what they do with it. That's what you're going to be doing with cars pretty soon. You drive it, hand it back. I mean, that's what a lease is essentially. I don't even know what they do with them. They probably resell them or something like that. But pretty soon they'll just be putting them in the garbage disposal. Like, these things, thank God we got it back. This thing's about to fall apart. But now they can't even get cars. I told you, I turned in my Honda lease, and I got a check for $9,000 back. They gave me $9,000 to give them the.
I know somebody who took a delivery was going to take a delivery on a car. Mm-hmm. I forget what it was, what type of car he got, and they called him up and they said, "Well, we'll pay you more than you even bought the car for. You don't get the car. We'll give you like $14,000 more than you even paid for it."
Isn't that great? That just tells you the crazy society we're living in. Pretty soon. I'm almost at the point now with my leg, and I can't even drive. I'm going to get my hard cast on tomorrow. That I'm just like, you know what? I don't even want a car anymore.
Just call an Uber.
Call an Uber, and pretty soon the Ubers won't even have drivers in them, right? They'll be like the Tesla, no driver cars. Got all over the place. So the only problem is when the electrical grid goes down. The whole society just crawls to a stop. The assembly line just stops moving, right? So,
if it gets too hot in California, it came within minutes. Minutes of collapsing.
Meltdown. All right, we're going to wrap this show up. Congratulations to Andrew Jack on the 2 victories this year. He is going to the Olympia, obviously, and we're going to get to see, how good he really is against some of the best in the world. It was an exciting show. I know it was marred by a little bit of controversy, leading into the weekend, but at the end of the day, the show must go on. It went on, and it went off without a hitch, and that's great news to hear. And I'm so happy that the fact that the athletes got to compete, because after all, it is all about the athletes. And at the end of the day, and these guys want to get those Olympia qualification spots. They've been dieting hard. They want to win some prize money, and that's what it's all about. Stay tuned. Also on Tuesday, I'll be interviewing the winner of the Arnold UK amateur show. And he's going to be telling us what it's like to be a bodybuilder at 6'7" tall, Chris. The following day, we'll have the 14-year-old on from the football. No, I'm going to have the 14-year-old. All right, guys. As we say every week here at Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
I didn't say it. Let's. I'll cue you up again. With Heavy Muscle Radio, Chris.
The truth hurts.
Sure does. Good night, everyone. We'll see you next week.